top side.
I think that's definitely the case. We'll talk about this a little bit more as we move through. Champs select Akshan, the first war removed. Someone we haven't seen at all today, but we've seen Svene play it, and it's not super pleasant for anyone involved.
No, I'm more than happy to see that champion go. I know earlier in the day I was saying that I hate Yone the most, but Akshan's definitely higher up there on my pain list. This champion is assassinating my internet, apparently, as they are going to hit the ban bench. And we do have the Zeri also taken away, which is important because both of these teams lost to Zeri last Thursday.
And Nativz, respect. Appreciate you. Vigar removed from the game. Don't want to be dealing with that one in the mid-side for Fatty P. And could even be in a saner champ pool. It seems like her style, potentially, with the Ziggs also being a big favorite. But the Jinx is going to be removed. And in the bot side for Nativz, Yopper clocks very, very capable players, of course, winning in the UKLC last split. You want to be targeting them as much as possible. But Nativz, we've already mentioned, have talent across the board.
And we were talking about in our little prep beforehand, the real areas we expect to see both these teams compete, and it is Nativz bot lane that, like you say, that are really the force that we are a bit worried about how Lightside look to contest it. Zaina with their, I'm going to say she's got a relatively abstract champion pool, going to things like the Swain and the Ziggs as well, means that we are likely to see a unique answer to this bottom lane. With that Jinx taken away, I would say that the ADC pool is a lot more open than it has been historically.
Yeah, you've got the Caitlyn, the Jhin is also an option that I'd like to see Yopper look to utilize, but they've got first pick stuff like the Lee Sin, the Xin Zhao is available, which will be locked in for Snil, and now it's a question of, do Lightside want to respond with a strong jungler of their own? Are they going to look towards this bot side? We'll have to wait and see.
And it's a bit early to say pull the Trundle trigger, because normally that's really good when you are against things like the Aphelios Thresh, because you can disrupt that Lantern save mid-movement. You get that hover onto the Jhin. I think that's a fine first pick in of itself. Likely to not see it paired with the support here though, so with the Trundle, you do have that decent facilitate. Gonna have to find out what Victor likes to go towards, though. They much prefer to be a lot more of a proactive carry mechanism for the team. Could even go for something like the Jarvan, but again, I'm not a big fan of that pick blind, as they will go for the volley bet, a lot safer overall.
Which does make sense. It gives some opportunities for the Jhin to be proccing off and allows for those really nice dives. And with Lundqvist loving to be able to move around the map and make those team-orientated plays early, having the ability to turn off towers is definitely going to be a big advantage. Just going to look at what Nativz decide to respond with. Of course, they could look towards their bot side now, knowing that they're up against the Jhin. Maybe taking something like the Fresh, because that would shut down the Nautilus, which could be an option. As I say, they do it. Clearly, I am a coach. And we'll have to see if they want to go for the marksman. Aphelios is available, very strong to match up alongside. The Caitlyn could also be a potential pickup here. There's a lot open. Whether they even want to go for a marksman and just go for something a little bit different because they know that they're against the Jhin, that could also definitely be something the Nativz look towards. But we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, gonna be the Varus. That is, I'm gonna say unique. I've heard that people have said they've been slept on recently, but simultaneously, I've only ever seen the poke Varus at the moment. I haven't seen any of the actual attack speed. At the moment, in this game, it's a bit too early to say which option you'd really want to be going down. So we do now have to find out what Lightside want to take away here for that support role. They have the counter. It's going to be the Rakan. I wouldn't say that's notoriously the best into Thresh on its own, but at least for pairing up with Victor, this is where Touch is really going to be looking to make their impact.
Yeah, not in the bot lane, but around the map, getting involved and causing ganks, causing dives, causing CC, and in those later game team fights. If you can get onto the backline as Rakan, jobs are good, and moving into the second round of bans, Gangplank not going to be around for Lundqvist, and I respect it immensely. Whether the top lane is going to see a few more bans and really pinch it out, it remains to be seen, of course. We've got a lot of strong options left available. The Camille, the Fiora, the Ornn all standing out to be. The Aurelia, of course.
No. I'm going to have to stop you there. These aren't the champions I like listening to. I like listening to Svene champions. Things like the Urgot, the Singed. These kind of connoisseur champions that you only get to pull out on Red 5, which they do have here. So for me, that means that Nativz should be looking to get as best a counter as they can for a mage that I'm assuming Fatty P is going to be blinding here. It's going to be something I would gather on the line of Vex, maybe even the Victor, things like that. A lot safer blind picks in of themselves. But you get that Gragas taken away, a lot of focus from Lightside onto the top lane, removing some of those things that Svene doesn't necessarily have the wacky counters to.
Syndra also taking the table. I can see Rise potentially also being an option for Fatty P. Wouldn't be something that would surprise me too greatly. But then again, in Division 2, nothing surprised yet. You played Marksman Soraka earlier today, and I haven't been the same since.
Okay. I'm
going
to enjoy this
round here.
We don't talk about it, but I'm going to enjoy watching it at very least. And I'm disappointed immensely. My day has been ruined. I was excited. This is better be a Renekton mid, or I'm going to be sad.
It's actually Renekton jungle. They're putting Volibear mid, and it's going to be Quinn top. You heard it here first.
Okay, I mean, I'm not against the Quinn, but let's find out what actually gets put against this. Please, God, no, not Renekton, nah. Like, I don't sit around watching League of Legends and Renekton, nah, still. Oh, this is the joy, Mickey.
We come from two different schools of the other leagues we cast, so I don't see Renekton nah around my parts.
I see only Renekton nahs.
Everyone out on tank duty where I'm from, and it's going to be the Orianna alongside it. So Nativz going for a very standard front to back composition with the sniping opportunities from the Varus at the back. Now, what will Lightside look to round out with? They've got a mid lane. You've got to imagine.
Again, but the other way around with Jhin, because it's looking like it's going to be a very similar maneuver. IP's got a lot of options available right now, depending, as it will be the Ahri. So, you said, what was it?
Yeah, so Lightside have gone for a very standard front to back composition with a Jhin at the back throwing out the damage.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you to these two teams for giving us something standard, meta, normal.
These are normal gamers, which is not what I was expecting coming into this draft.
Average gamers across the board. But, I mean, there's a couple of things we haven't seen too much of. The Varus, obviously, is a little bit off the wall. The Orianna is something we haven't got to see today. The Rakan we haven't seen yet today, which is going to be interesting moving around the map. So there's definitely stuff to look forward to watching. It's just not Singed got duo top.
Yeah, we can only get so much wackiness in a day. I guess that I really did spend my budget on the Soraka ADC game.
You did.
Yeah.
You did spend your budget on that.
Fine. This was what was deserved for having a nice day of strange picks. The thing we will say is the Ahri did win the last game, and Fatty P, paired up with such great tools on their team, is going to need to be ahead, because realistically, this team heavily lacks magic damage. Everybody has a little bit of it, but if Fatty P isn't ahead, this Xin Zhao can itemize quite heavily into the armor department and become nigh unkillable. Lundqvist will become a nuisance in the side lane, and we said it last game, Fatty P, well, just generally actually the Ahri pick, is not known for the damage, it's mainly for utility.
Yeah, it's not something that picks up all the kills, it's something that picks up the picks and helps the rest of the team get the kill, and it's going to be really, really great alongside the Jhin. My problem here is that the Jhin as a marksman, does plenty of damage, but is also known for that CC utility. So you've kind of layered stacks on stacks when it comes to keeping people in place, and we've seen that can work circa Domino 2-3 weeks ago when they picked up all the CC that they possibly could and just stunned the enemy team into submission. But the damage, once all that CC is being thrown through, they need to have enough to break through. And when they've got people like Meganar, when they've got the Fresh, when they've got the Xin Zhao, who gets deceptively tanky when he throws down that ultimate, holding them in place might not be enough. And with Varus and Orianna doing a lot of damage, whether it'll be enough from a Lightside is the question of the day. However, that being said, we've been wrong about drafts before, multiple times this evening, actually.
I would say majority of the times today, on the scale of things. So, yeah, I agree. Let's find it out firsthand. There's only one way to discover which way this is going to go. And overall, I would say that the early game reliance is going to be on Lightside. They're the ones that need to be getting ahead with this Volibear and the Renekton. Actually, both opting for the press the attack. You can see that this comp really does understand we are going to hit one person, we're going to kill them, we're going to go next, we're going to hit that person, we're going to kill them, and repeat.
So they're going to reset, but without resets. They're just going to kill
Yeah,
people.
only Ari has resets in this game, which is rare, actually. Yeah, both teams. There's only one reset champion. That feels like an anomaly nowadays.
Yeah, it's yeah, that is a little bit strange to how common those abilities are in the meta, but that does make sense considering that resetting and being able to go off on team fights is crucial with how the game is currently played around these objectives. But Infernal, remember, we need... Oh no, it's Infernal! So we can't get the perfect time. We should have asked the observers. Remember, observers choose what dragons come up.
That's true.
And we
Remember
didn't...
to blame them whenever we get a Cloud Soul, you know?
Yeah, honestly, it's true. But minions have clashed for the last time in the evening. Our producer thought it's going to be Cloud, which really sucks. But Clock's just stepping forward and trying to zone away. What should we be looking out for in the first 5-10 minutes? What actions should we be looking
Jungle
forward to?
pathing. That is the place we need to be looking. We actually have both junglers starting on their blue buffs. So it's going to be seeing where they actually take this aggression. I don't expect anything happening mid in the level 3 mark, but it very well could. Both having pretty good setup, the Orianna slow and the Ahri charm obviously speaking for itself. And then the follow-up CC from these junglers is immense. Any lane where they get to impact, they have the setup and they have the ability to kill.
Lundqvist.
Ooh,
Hang around the top side.
Look at this. I like this.
Pig in. But Xin Zhao's also there, so they'll be met. It will be a 2v2. As Victor's going in, but you could already see Snills diving on through. Fatty looking to get the charm. Will land it onto Xin Zhao. This is a full-on scrap 2v2. As Fatty P's knocked up, who's going to give up first blood? It will be the Ahri, as the response is good from Nativz. And no one goes down on their side. So Victor will be able to walk away, but that went from great to bad. Diving back in, but doesn't get the damage onto Ryle. Looking to get one more auto. Will not be able to find it. Is slowed, is knocked up, is dead. Disastrous play from Lightside.
All right, congratulations, Nativz. The game is basically yours to lose at this point. The team that I would say has the superior scaling by a hair is going to do an excellent job fishing out that early play. So nicely done from Snarl in the jungle on this Xin Zhao, getting in the way. And the real issue for Lightside that we had there was it was actually Fatty P and Victor putting the initial damage onto the Orianna, but then, because of how the fight was playing out, they realized, wait, we can't DPS them anymore. We burned our summoners. Let's turn onto the Xin Zhao. And these champions, we were talking about it like it would show up later, but already they have enough damage to kill one person and then go next. You can't split damage.
Because when you split damage, you don't kill anyone. And problem being is the re-engage from Victor was brave. Almost worked out. The flash was burnt by Orianna, which is good because it's going to make ganking mid a happier hunting ground, but you did give up 2 kills to the Xin Zhao, so he's going to be having a happy hunting ground across the map. Hasn't actually reset, and now Touch is going to need to be careful as the flash available. Dragged away from the rule, the Ignite is going down as well. Sana needs to give him a way out and will be able to do so. The Guardian proc keeping him a little bit topped up, but Lightside across the board looking a little bit ropey to start us out.
That flash still burned from Touch at the end of the day, so you can't force any long-range engages in this lane, or even, I would say more importantly, go to that mid lane and force anything onto the Orianna now, because against this Thresh, that's where Touch has their best gank window. You aren't allowed to get a standard fight onto this bot lane, because like we saw right there from Clocks, as long as you have Flay, you always beat Rakan.
And you're always going to be able to keep him from engaging or running away, depending on which side of the engaged Natives are on. And having that utility, having that flexibility, is going to prove quite useful as time ticks along. And Yopper was denied that recall, it should be mentioned, so he's just farming up as Clocks is looking towards the mid lane to try and get some work done. And if he can find the Ahri level 5, so no dashes available, could be pretty good, but there is a ward in the bush that he's about to walk through, so Fatty P is going to have all the information needed to try and stick alive.
And I would say the biggest debut we've had of this Ahri rework in pro play would have been Rogue playing it with Larson in the mid lane. And the way that we saw that get completely dismantled was just by putting a lot of pressure onto it. Because if the Ahri is playing from the back foot and is having to use the ultimate reactively to escape, well, in reality, it's like nothing changed. Because the main benefit she got was being able to reset off of that ultimate. If you are retreating, you're not getting the resets, so it's just like nothing happened. And that is where we need to see Nativz continue to lay down the pressure. Do not let them get anything done. You can force it out readily with the Orianna ball. Slendorf is mega now. Against touch in the top lane.
I think Svene's a little bit too healthy for the Nars to feel confident about diving, and Touch just hanging around the back to make sure. Out of sight, out of mind. But Lundqvist wasn't looking to make that play, but now Touch is moving forward a little bit more aggressively, heading down towards the mid lane. But after an aggressive play mid, neither team has looked to pull the trigger on anything. The Dragon has spawned up. We've got a Rift Herald in a minute and a half.
Ariel is available. There is an angle here. It's just not going to be taken.
No, it's not going to be thrown down just yet as Victor heads back to base before probably looking towards bot to contest that objective. But interestingly, neither of these teams has started it up just yet, because today we've had, and throughout the split really, most teams will want to be on objectives at spawn or near enough in order to contest, because now, especially without Corki being here, whether that's made a difference or not, only the historians will tell us. But Touch trying to get the disengaged jump through as Sena stepping away, but you're going to have to step back if you want Rakan to stay alive. But at the end of the day, neither will stand. Snil picks up 2, 4 on the night. And Zinzao running the Rift.
Blocks playing extravagantly on this Thresh into Rakan matchup. It is winning, and they are showing you firsthand why. Denying escape from Sena and then keeping touchdown with a hook at the end of it. Very cleanly played from the Nativz bottom lane, and it was as called. If they were to take this game, it was going to be off of their bot lane playing ever so well just in the 2v2.
And I mean, that wasn't a 2v2, but they were setting it up correctly, so they definitely gain credit for that. Assist credit, it should be mentioned, because the Zinzao's taking all the kills.
And one of the things that we're talking about is this Xin will become a nuisance later if they can get ahead, considering how low damage the Lightside comp is. Having even just a slightly ahead of the curve tanky member, who, by the way, has Dark Seal. Just go throw that out there. Zinzao got a lot of AP, crit, and everything scalings a while ago. So that is something, I suppose, that they can continue to snowball with. It means that it's going to become even more difficult for Lightside to actually get this fight rolling, because, well, the Zin can just tank everything and then knock you away, so it's becoming worse and worse by the second by funneling the gold onto them.
Moving around the advantage, taking everything that he can, and going to be able to grab some farm as well, because Zinzao's need time to relax too. Maybe not now though, because he's thinking about going into the river towards Victor, and Fatty P clocks is in the wings waiting for the Death Sentence to hook, line and sinker someone. But Fatty P's going to go for the engage, misses out the charm though, and that could be massive. He's going to drag Volley Bear away as Snilla gets the lantern out, but looking back towards the Aura, gets the knock up and the stab, but Fatty P able to dash away. Lundqvist has wandered down to see what all the fuss is about. We'll be able to get the assist on the kill. Ryle on the Orianna grabs the 5th kill of the game for Nativz, and Rift Herald can be started up as well.
Not going to be 5 for 5 in the Zin's pocket, and this is still going to go very positive for Nativz. A brilliant sidestep onto the charm means that Fatty P basically doesn't get to do anything. In the early game, pre-mythic, Ari's whole utility is dashing in, getting a good charm, and then wasting your time being afraid that she's going to do it again. This is going to be a Rift Herald taken down. There are a lot of potential places to shut this. I feel like we've discussed it enough at this point that with how far ahead this Zinzao is, you have actually pretty decent dive potential onto all of the bot side of the map as, oh boy, the pauses strike back.
I think it'll be okay. It was just a little bit of a disconnection issue. Hopefully it has already been resolved, but we'll find out from production, who also is a big liar, because he said it was going to be Cloud Soul, but we've got Cloud next up, so it's definitely not going to be Cloud Soul.
Okay,
He's defending himself in our ears, but you can't hear him, so...
It just sounds like we're losing our minds here together.
Well,
like, oh, yeah.
Our
Right,
minds
voice
are
in
firmly
our head.
gone. Our minds are firmly gone anyway at this stage. However, Zinzao, very far ahead, has that Rift Herald, so can invest that money not only in himself, but across the map. And as we rejoin the game, Nativz actually at the 10-minute mark have a really healthy gold lead. So Lightside, with a composition that we were a little bit worried about in terms of getting over the finish line when it comes to damage in these late game stages, finds themselves at a deficit. Yeah.
take a look at where the money is, unsurprisingly, it's on the jungler. And then, actually, I would say, a bit more surprisingly, it's actually the mid and the bot lane that has really picked up that, I suppose, the assist gold combined with the pressure that they gain from the enemy laners dying is going to get a lot of that impact down. Particularly for the mid lane, when you are constantly bullying onto's Victor, just means that this Orianna is under no threat whatsoever. As long as Ari is not ahead, and you're not getting chunked out regularly, they do not have enough DPS to 100 to 0 you. Ooh, okay.
Ooh, so he needs to be a little bit careful. Gonna be rooted up. The damage is there, and that's another kill going over to Xin Zhao. Touch trying to get back on the tower, but still not interested in letting him get away. But might burn low, actually. One more tower attack, but won't. There's the burn. There's the ignite. Shut down onto the Rakan. Eyes bigger than your stomach this time around, Xin Zhao.
Might have been able to survive there if they had started auto-attacking minions. One of the few AP scalings that really does need to be spoken about for the Xin Zhao is that passive. That every third hit does regen you a notable amount of health. So we could get a bit of trade on the top side, but Sveni walked into this. Don't think they're going to be walking away too quick.
Ah, they're going to be walking away very quickly, trying to get out of all that damage as Lundqvist gives him the thumbs up and sends Rakan, Renekton on his way, rather. And shows that dominance on Nativz is not just in the jungle, it's across the board.
I mean, that's the thing. When your jungler is ahead, it's really easy to play confident because you always know that even if something happens to you and you get jumped on by the enemy jungle, yours can get way more done just because you could smack them with the wallet. Look at the gold difference on these junglers in the items. It's Shoes and a Bami's Cinder against full Gore Drinker. It is not even a competition between these two.
And Volibear, we've seen when he falls behind, is not the happiest of chappies when it comes to being involved in the game, as Lundqvist just getting a little bit overexcited and has to dive away from Sveni, who stunned him under tower. But right now it is Nativ's game to lose. You've got to imagine Sena caught up once again, rooted up, and Touch isn't going to be able to do anything, but Yopper just going to put a little bit of damage into Rakan on the way out, as Rift Herald will be dropped into the bot lane. You've got to imagine Clocks is leaving to allow the Varus. A lot of gold on the charge, and it will be the whole tower as well, as Touch steps back, realizes he can't defend on his own, but has Victor in the wings. Now Yopper gets the gold, needs to be careful as the quickening has been used, forcing the flash away, but will be able to jump on top of the Varus, who is taken low, takes the lantern, the flame, but Fatty P comes through, gets the charm, and that'll be Clocks down too. Live together, die together, as Nativ's bot lane falls. Xin Zhao sneaks away the dragon from under their noses as the mountains will rise for the final game of the night. But that was a good turnaround play from Lightside.
It's going to trade all but even in the gold, though, because that first blood tower and all the plates in store with it. And I think that now's about the time to acknowledge the fact that Yopper, we were talking about in Champ Select, could have been the lethality, could have been the attack speed. With that Gale Force outplay right there, has gone for the attack speed, which makes this really scary for Lightside. If it's lethality, you can at least consolidate yourself and say, all right, if we just don't get hit by the poke, or if we force onto them straight away, then they're kind of worthless. Now, with a Gale Force, an Orianna, and then a Thresh Xin to peel them, I am extremely scared of the Varus. They are going to do a lot in these team fights with the lead that they have, and it is going to be even worse considering with that ultimate they can protect themselves. Maybe not here.
Careful, Sveni. He's caught him out on his own. Clocks is running, but Touch is also there. And looks like he's just going to go for the dive. The curtain has been called. The flash was used to secure the kill. But now they're turning it around. They want revenge. They want a kill of their own. And they'll find Touch as the unwilling victim. Nativz trade 1-for-1. Sveni slides away. But Yopper just overextends a little bit too much.
Be the 1-for-1 when you're the team behind. Normally you're fine with that, and I think if you count who was getting traded, then you are. But once again, we have got the Hull Breaker. This time by Lundqvist in the top side, and when your bottom lane is doing so well and your jungler is doing so well, and you're in this standardized Gnar Renekton matchup where in reality there's not too much the Renekton could do to outplay you with this item now. Your stats are ridiculous when you're on your own. Going to be picking up at least 20 bonus armor and MR, plus all the other things enhancing your own minion. It's an extremely gold efficient item. If you are alone and getting that boarding party bonus, it's, I believe, 1.5 times gold efficient, which for a cheap item is pretty disgusting.
Hutch needs to be careful how a house thrown at his head, but should be able to dance away over the wall. But goes well below half health, and the Gnar has the Hull Breaker already in pocket. So is a threat on his own in the side lane. We saw it earlier today. We've seen it on other champions as well. Most recently on the Urgot, actually, for Monster Rugby Gaming last time out. And now we're looking towards the second Rift Herald. Again, it's going to be Nativz taking control of the area. They're also going to secure the top tower, but let's just take a quick stock as Vene looks to try and get some damage and an objective bounty. It's going to be a good amount of gold, but it's not going to close this 5,000 gold lead by all that much. And Nativz, you said it in the first few minutes, they were in the driving seat. It was their game to lose. While they've been a little overconfident at times, they haven't looked to let up. Very, very exciting start.
Have the chem tank available on Svictor. Looking for these kind of desperation plays is the best thing you can hope for at the moment. You can't really attack the Gnar unless you dedicate a lot of resources, and if you do so, you leave your mid lane open to potentially get him Rift Heralded. You don't know where the Xin Zhao is hiding, lurking with that. Anytime you go for a play, it can backfire completely, and I think that the fact that it is the jungler that is doing so well, not only for the reasons said, but also just looking at from a player mentality perspective, is really just the final nail in the coffin for Lightside, because you don't want to force when the person that has all the resources could be there every turn.
Because he's able to move around, and this is the power of getting your jungler fed, of course. Now a lot of eyes are on Snell as we move into the later stages, because that's where the gold has been put, or a lot of the kill gold has been put, I should say, because of course he invested a lot of it into Yoppa on the bot side with the Varus taking down that first tower. And mid lane is the only outer still standing. The charge will probably take that tower to within striking distance, and it looks like the minion wave and the members of Nativz
That's it.
could look to get the second charge off once again. We've seen that a few times today from different teams, as Snill seems like he wants to do just that. The rest of Nativz like, nah, it's fine, we'll just take the one, and Lightside will be able to remove that threat from the board.
Used slightly earlier than what would have been ideal, because now you don't have it as that constant nuisance on the side that gives you the free dragon priority. But with Lundqvist pushing this bot side, Hullbreaker Into is going to be able to knock on this tower's door. Fatty P, not actually safe to walk around because they're about to go mega. There's the potential to just get them turned on you. Varus, while not lethality, can still access you from quite a notable range away. That piercing arrow, and it looks like Svene will happily be collecting their second bounty of the game, but losing the sole point on the other side of the map.
And while it's only a mountain, which isn't the scariest of things to lose out on, it's definitely notable in the fights, which Lightside are already struggling with. It will be a 3v2 when Fatty P arrives around the dragon. It's already gone down. A Yoppa moving towards the curtain call from Jin, but it's only going to go into the Xin Zhao, who doesn't care, even if that fourth shot lands, and it didn't even this time around from Sena. Nativz get the objective and don't lose too much in response.
So, you say that it's only one mountain and that's not the worst thing in the world, and I do tend to agree, but we haven't really acknowledged the fact that a mountain soul pretty much just ruins everything for Lightside, especially with Fatty P going for the Everfrost as opposed to going for more of the Magic Pen. The shield plus the little extra resistances you're going to be getting is just going to cover up any window that you could even hope for a pick. Your executes won't be executing, your resets will not be happening, and honestly, I don't think it could have gone worse for Lightside on the Soul RNG. Damn it, producer.
He's ruining it again, isn't he? Poor Lightside. I don't know what they did to Reed to make him this upset with them, but Lundqvist has done something to upset Fatty P and Svene. He's just going to skip away, apologizing on his way out, and should be fine to survive. Nativz.
Oh.
What have you just spotted?
I think that Lundqvist is building towards the Triforce, which is going to give them even more split push prevalence in the side lane. So, considering that Lightside, to get back in this game, they don't really get to. To stay alive in this game, they need to just be dogpiling onto anything. They need to find picks, and they're just not getting the opportunities because they're all split across the map, having to answer each lane.
Which makes sense because Nativz just looking to grab as much as they can, and Svene in the bot side has gone on top of the Gnar, but isn't really going to achieve very much, isn't in a state to fight Lundqvist a level below, and very healthy itemization. As Nativz can move with impunity into the enemy jungle and really just force threat. They're going to be able to secure themselves the red buff and get away scot-free. Baron's now on the Rift. We've got Soul Point in 2.5 minutes. And there's not really much where I can see Lightside contesting these objectives successfully just because they're so far behind.
I wanted to say they could flip Baron and then let Nativz get the soul and hope that they can get enough bounties off of that to try and get in an equal state. But their team sucks at Baron, man. Like, there is nothing for this team at this point. Lightside are in a dire spot, possibly the direst spot I've seen of any team this evening. And I don't have much else. How are you doing today?
I mean, I'm just a little bit worried because Fatty P is going towards the utility build when we highlighted that the damage would be an issue. Yeah, that's how I'm doing.
I guess that if you have the utility build, you can do this a lot more often. Now, will it work? Let's find out.
Yeah, the stun will land as Flash is used. Touch is there, and Nar's actually going to go Mega Gnar. We'll go down in the end there. I just completely lost my trail of thought. But yeah, that works. What are going to be the responses from Nativz? Because we know that they can lose stuff on the side if they can gain stuff in the mid lane. And it looks like they're actually not going to gain too much. So, excellent work.
Yeah, I mean, you get something. And you had to invest a little bit of cooldowns. But they should be back up by the Ari Ignite before this dragon. Biggest thing that is gained for Nativz is that deep vision. Look at it right there. It is actually just a hard wall going through the Lightside jungle. Now, one of the things I have seen recently, though, is that if you are not getting proactive TP flanks, this deep vision is actually not going to do you too many favors, because Lightside are going to rotate straight into the jungle here, and then you're going to not be able to see them. Yeah, you get inferences.
Ooh, there's the hook. There's the kill. Yopper secures Fatty P. And Lightside run back to the wilderness. 30 seconds on the Dragon Soul. As Lundqvist is just holding 3 members of Lightside at bay on his own. Misses the ultimate, which will deny any kind of kill pressure. But Nativz is just walking towards the mid lane to get some chip damage on this tower. Before you've got to imagine grabbing themselves the Dragon Soul. And as you mentioned before, yeah, Mountain Soul's not particularly sexy on its own. But in this kind of game, could be game winning.
Thanks, Reed. That's an 18 HP tower, as if to rub it in even further. There is nothing left for Lightside. Like, they're about to lose the soul. The only way that they should be able to stay in the game now is if Nativz A, coin flip the Baron and don't do their due diligence to keep Victor away. B, Sana gets a godlike steal onto one of these objectives. Or C, Nativz become very scared of ending for some reason, let it get down to an Elder, flip both, and then Lightside collect a, well, Christmas tree-sized amount of gold off of the bounty system.
So what you're saying is the way that Lightside win this is if Nativz flush the game down the toilet?
Yeah, basically. There's really no other alternative I see at this point.
Well, we're seeing a fight in the river, and they're going to pick up one. Clock's caught up and can't take his own lantern out. So he will go down, but on the other side of the map, Lundqvist forces the Dominus away from Svene, who is feeling a little bit confident in this exchange. I don't know how confident he should be feeling, as that's a pretty scary Gnar. And Nativz could look to force the 4v3 in the mid lane, but still just standing in front of his squishier members like, yeah, just put the damage into me. I really don't care. The 4th shot isn't even going to be thrown in the end.
I mean, that's the thing, right? If you throw the shot, they know how much damage it does. If you don't throw the shot, maybe it could have killed. That's the level we are at this point of going for, well, Schrodinger's Jin shot is the best way we could hope for it.
But not full health targets. Like,
Hey.
30 farm down,
She
0
didn't
3
fire the
1.
gun, Viprune. She didn't fire the gun. We don't know. It's a gun.
It is. This is true. I don't think it's killing a full health target.
I don't think it is either, but what else are we supposed to say? This is awful to watch.
Clocks has grabbed the hook. She's going to go in. Victor walks away half health. Clocks now turns his attention towards Vene alongside Lundqvist. But Lightside, they survive this time around, but objective will be secured. Another tower falls. Nativz giving respect where it is due. To be fair, they are moving towards this Baron. They have taken themselves the Scuttle and have found themselves a catch on the Satyr who will be able to cleanse and flash away. But that's both summoners unavailable. Touch mine outlook for the engaged. Vene diving through. Actually, Nativz aren't here. It's a 3v5. Can they look to grab anyone? They're looking towards Snill. The Zinzao walking away, but survives as Lundqvist shows up. Clocks now will be able to assist in the first kill, but should go down. Will fall in the end as Fatty P sneaks away into the jungle. Rill gets the kill onto the volley bear as Lundqvist chasing forward gets the slow onto touch. One more auto would have been enough, but he's hopping away. There's not that much that saying they couldn't do either. She takes the Gale Force out. But that looked like the opportunity for Lightside, but it's a 2-for-1 exchange, which really isn't enough.
And one of the two you lost was your jungler in front of the Baron. This has to be it for Nativz, surely. You have got the Varus here, who does a lot of max HP damage off of that W passive. Saina's alive. Oh, is it the Miracle Steal, or will it be Lundqvist scaring them off? There you go.
Lundqvist not interested and says, Saina, I'm a level with you. I'm just going to kill you. And throws one more boomerang, grabs the kill. The Baron secured as well. 5 members of Nativz, I believe, secure that as Clock should have been on the map before it went down. Now, the question being is, I normally ask what do Nativz want to get from this? The answer is probably the League of Legends game.
They
How
want
did
to
they go
get
back
to
saying
bed.
that?
That's what they want to do. They want to get to bed after this one. And Lundqvist, still with the Hullbreaker, now with the Wit's End and the Vine Sunder, actually, should be nigh unkillable. It's going to take like 4 people at best. And speaking of, this play started off with a quick escape from Saina. A lot of CC invested initially by Nativz. But watch this counter engage right here. They go on to the first target, and they instantly stopwatch to safety, allowing Yoppa to escape. And at that point, Sniller buys so much time on the Zinzao because we talked about all game, they're really damn tanky. On the bot side, Fatty P and Victor are doing their best, but there is a reason this comp doesn't function from behind, because you cannot actually get resets for the Ahri. And so your DPS too low, utility build won't kill, Baron secured, and Nativz. I think as long as they 4-1 this, they're fine. A 1-3-1 is a little greedy, but we just saw it firsthand. Lightside actually do not necessarily win 3v5s that decisively.
They didn't win the 3v5 at all when we were seeing it earlier, but they're looking to get the 3v1, which might be a little bit unfair for Lundqvist as Touch pops the ultimate. The ultimate from Gnar goes wide, and Lundqvist is just buying time, knows that he's dead, will be shut down by Svene. But in the mid lane, they're getting a lot of damage down onto this inhibitor tower, and I think this one's going to fall in quick succession. The inhibitor could also be focused down. They've got themselves a Varus, but knowing that they're without their top laner, decide to play it safe and back away, just keeping those empowered minions popping on some chip damage as they don't look to push in themselves. But Lightside have 4 members to defend, clear out those minions. Real on the bot side, as we said, the 1-3-1 was a little greedy, and they won't be able to gain too much more down there either. Nativz kept at bay for now, at least.
Unbelievably, Lightside have managed to stay alive at this point. And I think that it's partly down to Nativz being too respectful. Because while these are both very good teams, there is a reason that they're up there competing to try and reach that top spot. Catch up Monster being only 1 game behind is the winner of this game. At some point, you can just say, we have too much money, we can walk you down and outstat you. Because if you give over this much respect, you're asking for a flip. Because Victor has the chem tank, they have the flash, they have the ultimate. They can physically get in here, and if the Elder goes down, all of the issues we've talked about this entire game of Lightside lack damage doesn't matter if you are playing at 75% max HP.
Victor is looking for a way towards that dragon pit, was being kept away by Clocks over the wall as Snill actually diving towards Svene. The dragon's at 5,500 health, As you can see on the other side, Touch as Victor moving on through. Fanny goes solo already, though, as Nazgul over the wall to catch out Sana. The damage, the fight is so split up. There are numbers advantages, but actually, it's going to be a kill going over to Victor, but Real is putting on the pain. Only 1 kill apiece so far, but Svene will stumble, and the damage is going to come through. Lightside do not have health bars to work with. 3 members well below a quarter health as the chase comes through. Lundqvist looking for Sana, looking for the speed up. 1 more auto would be enough. Touch runs through. The boomerang misses, goes wide. Where is the auto? Where's it coming from? The damage is there finally as they chase Lightside into base. The double and the finish up from Oriana will secure the ace, will secure the base, and will secure the game for Nativz. It's a 1-2 Irish punch at the top of NLC Division 2 as they set themselves only 1 game behind Monster Rugby Gaming.
Coming up after what felt like an inevitability, Lightside living the whole way through, but you have to give it to Nativz. They gave no opportunity to throw that game. It was always in their favor. They never dropped it after that initial fight. And it really was one of those that from minute 2, you just watched the masterclass.
It was a case of, you said, it's their game to win. And for Nativz, they were like, yeah, it absolutely is. We're going to play exceptionally well, not give openings until those openings are well too late. We're going to jump to a short break now. When we come back, we're going to be talking to both of these teams, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few.